In another life, I was a party promoter. I threw events, threw concerts, and promoted different parties. The most infamous party that I ever did was at the Playboy Mansion. And the crazy thing is, it's been a long time since I did that party. But the legend lives on. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville. Episode 0 of Season 4 of Sherlock. We're coming down the home stretch. Now, the strange thing about this particular episode is it's a one-off. Most of Sherlock is set in modern times, but this one is actually set in the 19th century. It's in the Victorian area, like 1892, something like that. Dr. Watson's discharged from the army. He's medically discharged. He's got a severe limp. He's introduced to Sherlock Holmes by a fellow student of Bart's. And Dr. Watson kind of becomes interested in investigative principles. Inspector Lestrade from Scotland Yard comes by with a puzzling case. There's a woman named Amelia Ricoletti who, for whatever reason, she took out a gun and just started busting on people who were walking by. She just, from her balcony, she just started shooting people. And next thing you know, she went inside the house and unalived herself. Now, that's not what's crazy. Because the crazy thing is, even though they took her body out, took her down to the morgue, that very same night, when her husband was coming out of the club, this woman got out of a horse and carriage, put up her veil to show that it was her, because she was in her wedding dress. I think she was about to become a newlywed when she started busting on people, and shot her husband dead, and then walked off. When they went back to check and see if her body was at the morgue, her body was indeed at the morgue, dead. And I'm like, how the hell did the ghost of her, of who was her, get up and kill her husband? And there become a string of murders around town of husbands who are cheating on their wives or beating their wives, not doing their wives right. The bride, same bride, takes the husbands out. Sherlock figures out, he said, these are not all done by the same person. These are copycat crimes, because that woman is dead. And ain't no way, ain't no ghost, no demon, ain't nobody running around her killing people. That woman's dead. We flip back to present day and find out that Sherlock Holmes is in a drug-induced hallucination brought on by a little bit of that cocaine. Took a little bit of coca to enter his mind palace. And he's figuring out this crime because it would help him in the present world. And figuring out this crime of Amelia Ricoletti will help him figure out the great crime of Moriarty. All of this, he ends up at a church, and he finds it's a secret group, a meeting of the women's rights movement. And what they did was they used a double with help from the current coroner, who was played by Molly Hooper in his mind palace. She helped Amelia Ricoletti get all this together. So she did not unalive herself. She slipped out. She used a body from the morgue that looked kind of like her. But then after she killed her husband, her dedication to the movement was she did take herself out then. Because it wasn't so much about the crime itself. It was about the Abominable Bride, the avenging bride, and the women's right movement. If you're not doing a woman right, the legend of the Abominable Bride was taken up by copycats. And that was the deduction Sherlock came for modern day, that what is going on with the Moriarty case is not Moriarty himself. It's a copycat, but a very good one, who may have been working with Moriarty before he passed. This leads Sherlock to think back about the Reichenbach Falls and something, the word Redbeard. A legend is often considered more powerful than the truth because it carries emotional weight. It inspires imagination and can sometimes be more captivating due to its somewhat embellished or idealized nature. You know that I love my quotes, and one of the quotes that I love is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And this quote actually talks about the idea of creating your own legend, your own legendary path, and going into uncharted territory and forming a new legacy. And the quote is, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." In this story, Amelia Rigoletti was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice in order to start the legend of the Abominable Bride, the same way that we were all just mesmerized and blown away at the end of season 2 when it appeared that Moriarty took his own life. His resolve was so strong that he was willing to kill himself in order to get over on Sherlock. The story of the party that I threw at the Playboy Mansion. And this is a time when Hugh Hefner was still alive. I did get within maybe 8 feet of Hugh Hefner and his 8 very blonde, extremely young girlfriends. The thing is, this was the most infamous, but one of the best parties I've ever been a part of. And it wasn't because of what the legend of the Playboy Mansion is, the debauchery and just the carnal nature of it. It was a true networking event. I mean, I actually, little old me, sat and had a 15-minute conversation with the CEO, the head of the NBC Corporation. He was at the party. I have no idea why. I didn't invite him. He wasn't on the list, but I was in a working capacity, so I was working with a corporation throwing this party on their dime. I was just happy to be attached to this endeavor. I took Chuck with me. Y'all know Chuck, the founder of the Geekish Network, and our partner, Bobby Kraft. The 3 of us invaded the party. Chuck and Bobby were there mainly for my support and just to have fun. I was working, but I was going to try to have fun too. This party lasted 12 hours. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. I do have pictures. They're private on my Facebook page, but I have pictures. And they're not bad. They really aren't. It was interesting though. Just the type of things that people get into for this. Me being a veteran, we did this for the Wounded Warriors project. And it was a great night. The B-list Playboy bunnies, D-list celebrities, but a great night. But when most people hear that I was at the Playboy Mansion for any reason, they think that I was just running around bucket naked with my willy, just slanging. It wasn't like that. I was married, I had a kid on the way, and I was happy there. This was work, and it was one of those things that, yes, you could turn it down, but this was a once-in-a-chance lifetime to do something like this of this magnitude. And if I'd been a little bit more focused, I would have went into the project stronger with a position, something that I could network and get across to some of the important, powerful movers and shakers that I met that night. And I would have had something to springboard into when I got off of that party. But I didn't. I was short-sighted. The legend of the Abominable Bride. I'm not sure how it was in England, and I'm not even really that sure how it was in America. It was far before my time, but the women's rights movement was a movement where women demanded a seat at the table. They demanded to be taken seriously, as they should. In any relationship, they are 50-50 part of their relationship. However, we live in a very patriarchal world, and there are many a man who's not willing to give up the power or the concept of having a woman stand beside them. Those are pretty words that they say. They don't truly want the woman to stand beside them. They want them 2 feet behind them and 2 feet to the side. And that's not the world that we live in anymore at all. A legend can evoke strong emotions like awe, admiration, or even fear. And in this case of the Abominable Bride, it did all 3. When a legend is widely shared with the community and believed, the legend itself gains power through the shared experience and cultural identity. Much the same as the legend, definitely not the true story of Christopher Columbus, or the legend of Robin Hood in Sherwood Forest. Most people think that they know the story, but they don't have any real clue of what the real of that story is. This is Rakai Steed, Newt from the Ville. Just a short, quick take on the Abominable Bride. Make sure that you like, share, comment. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. There's a lot of good content on here. I do a lot of this media therapy and talk about different themes and tropes from some of the series and movies that I've seen. And there might be some gems in there, something that you can resonate with. Make sure it's all about this. It's just as much as it's about this.